This is things you might have heard, and I am Jay Clifton Payne. And for you today, 8 stories queued up from yesterday that you deemed as conversational. You told me they were worth talking about, so we wrangled them up and put them in this newscast for you. This is a conversation. This is a dialogue, not just a spitting out of news coverage stories that other folks are pushing out there. Although we are talking things that's going on right now as we are speaking, literally speaking. Donald Trump is speaking in front of troops in Qatar and doing a big rise style speech. There'll be a quick hot take video on that one put out around this time as well. I've already said my words on that one. Not too thrilled about it, but it's there. But we're going to talk about the stories from yesterday that you actually told us to talk about, covering information, politics, current events, pop culture news in this presentation here. Matt Gaetz is here. HBO Max is back, and we're talking Donald and Melania Trump in a way that you may not expect, or maybe you do expect it. We'll get to that towards the end. Vetting process we'll get to as well, but want to tell you about the 3 things that are important right now from the bat. Our website home. This is the conversationproject.com, where you can find out what you need to know about the Conversation Project. Also, you can email me with comments, concerns, and questions about what we do at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. And of course, we are sponsored because we have to keep these things going on. Today's sponsor is me again. My newsletter for very boring investment advice, and the website as well is there. We're going to have some very boring investment advice books coming out soon, so we'll push those as well. But this is me, and I am an investor personally, but I am not a advisor. But because of my curiosity, together we're learning these things together. So check it out, our website newsletters for that. The links are inside this presentation, or visit veryboringinvestmentadvice.com. Now let's get on to the stories for today, Thursday, May 15th, 2025. 8 stories, no particular order as they are listed, except sort of the best way to get the narratives. So stick around with us. We'll explain some sort of their positioning while we go along. Otherwise, these are some of the 8 stories that you said were good to talk about for this morning. This one story got a lot of response, and there's not a lot of response on it in the main news sense. So essentially, people on the internet are going back and forth with this one, and it's a bit controversial, but it may not be. Let's go into the story and I'll do as little commentary as possible. But reading on this one, the headline in this is that a Mexican security team chief has said the Trump administration has allowed a cartel family members to enter the U.S. Mexico security officer Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed that 17 relatives of Ovidio Guzman Lopez, the son of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, entered the United States last week. The crossing occurred at Tijuana border and was reportedly part of a negotiated deal between Guzman Lopez and the Trump administration. Video footage shows the family members walking across the border with suitcases received by U.S. agents. Ovidio Guzman Lopez is extradited to the U.S. in 2023. He's believed to be cooperating with the U.S. authorities, and reports suggest that he may be providing information on rival criminal organizations in exchange for some leniency. Mexican officials, including Garcia Harfuch, have not been informed of the specifics of the arrangement, so they can't tell exactly what's going on. They are raising concerns about the conspiracy, and the words that are written in the actual script, transparency. But conspiracy can mean there as well. The president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, has criticized U.S. for its lack of transparency and maybe conspiracy regarding the deal. She emphasized that the Sinaloa Cartel is designated as a terrorist organization by the U.S. and questioned the consistency of U.S. policies that claim not to negotiate with terrorists. Sheinbaum called for respect and coordination, stating that the unilateral decision by Trump administrators to affect Mexican sovereignty is a big deal. On the same day as the family's entry, the U.S. Attorney General's office announced charges of narcoterrorism, that's a new word, against top cartel figures. This marks a significant escalation in U.S. approach to combating drug cartels, signaling a more aggressive stance towards dismantling cartel leadership. However, the question remains, is there a deal with Guzman Lopez, and is he helping, and what's he getting out of that deal? The exact details are sketchy. The Trump administration is remaining to disclose none of them. Speculating suggests that it may be linked to a possible plea agreement, but the officials have not confirmed this. The situation continues to develop with both Mexican and U.S. authorities under scrutiny for their handling of the matter. During a recent visit to El Salvador's high security prison, CCOT, if you will, the U.S. delegation, which was led by former Congressman Matt Gaetz, although it's still a U.S. delegation, encountered vocal opposition from the inmates there. The prisoners, identified as members of the Venezuelan gang TDA and deported from the U.S., you remember that whole thing, jeered and shouted at the visiting officials. The delegation included Representatives Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, Republican, Andy Ogles, Republican of Tennessee, and Vicente Gonzalez, a Democrat of Texas, touring the facility as part of a segment for One American News Network, OAN, the now boss, the employer of one Matt Gaetz. The inmates' presence in the CCOT stems from the $6 million agreement at the moment, because if more money comes, between the U.S. administration and El Salvador, allowing for the deportation of alleged gang members under the Alien Enemies Act. The policy has faced legal challenges and criticism from human rights organizations, particularly concerning deportation of individuals without due process. During this tour, the delegation observed contrasting conditions between different inmate groups. The MS-13 members appeared subdued. Tre de Agagua, TDA, I should say, were more confrontational. They had a bit more gusto in their presentation. Noticeably, the latter group received meals such as burgers and fries, whereas the others were served rice and beans. The use of CCOT to house deported individuals has sparked debate in the U.S., with some lawmakers supporting the approach as a deterrent to crime, others raise concerns about human rights violations and the legality of deportation. The incident during the prison tour highlights the complexities and the controversies surrounding the immigration enforcement policies we have here in the States. As the U.S. continues to navigate its immigration and deportation policies, the situation at CCOT serves as a focal point for discussion on legal authority, human rights, and international cooperation. Reactions from inmates during the congressional visit underscores the tensions and challenges to inherit the issues. Let's go back and forth. The policies we put in place and how we work these issues. Moving on to headline number 3 today. It reads, Harvard President Alan Garber takes 25% pay cut amid budget struggles. The president of Harvard, Mr. Alan Garber, is taking a 25% pay cut, voluntary 25% salary cut for 25-26 fiscal year. It comes as the university faces $3 billion in federal funding cuts imposed by the Trump administration. Garber's move follows a similar pay cut he took in 2020 during COVID-19 pandemic issues while serving as provost. Other university leaders are also making voluntary contributions to help mitigate some financial challenges. Will his 25% make a big difference? Probably not. It is mostly symbolic, but the symbolism is a big part of what's going on. The administration has frozen $2.2 billion in federal grants to Harvard and recently announced additional $450 million in cuts. So the Trump administration is accusing the university of failing to address anti-Semitism and racial discrimination on campus. In response, Harvard filed a lawsuit against its administration, arguing that the funding cuts are unlawful and attempt to control the university's operations and infringe upon its academic freedom. One of the issues that Harvard has as a point to stand on that many folks may not, they're a private school. And the deals they have, because Trump likes deals, the grants they're getting were based on research for funding for larger scale events, larger scale issues that probably need to be worked on, and they earned them. And so Trump pulling them back because they're saying they're not dealing with DEI right, Harvard says doesn't wash. And addressing the financial shortfalls is going to be difficult, but Harvard's going to implement some cost-setting measures across the board. Hiring freeze, that's one of the most popular ones. Suspension of merit pay increase for faculty and staff. Suspension of merit pay increases for faculty staff. That means you're not getting this raise this year. And a review of discretionary spending in capital projects. Some buildings won't be worked on. Some football fields won't get additions, things like that to make up for the shortfalls. The university has allocated $250 million of its own funds to support research projects affected by the federal funding freeze, which is going to help towards medical sciences, putting its own money into where the grants are going to make sure that those things keep going. University officials acknowledge that these measures are temporary solutions, cannot fully compensate for the loss of federal funds, like I said, mostly of a nature that looks good, but can't actually keep the budgets going for sustained periods of time. Harvard's financial challenges highlight the broader impact of federal funding decisions on academic institutions. Basically, having your support be determined by one or two sources, especially federal sources, federal funding. In the past, one would think federal stuff is mainly guaranteed. Here, we're seeing this not be the case. Other universities such as Columbia, Johns Hopkins, facing similar funding cuts from the federal governments. They're taking steps to self-fund research projects going forward and just kind of keep the government out of their business. It may be the way we go going forward, but as enrollments decline and real money that people want to pay into things decline, people don't want to pay the full price of tuition because it costs too much. We'll see how this works out and whether the legal battle, the actual physical battle, if you will, between Harvard and Trump administration will continue and how far it will go in the fight, literally to erase the DEI, however you want to determine and define what DEI and anti-Semitism actually means. As I take my sip of regular coffee, I'm going back to the story that we actually talked about a few weeks ago when the CEO of Starbucks announced some changes to make things better, make life a little easier for customers and make Starbucks back to a third place again, with one of those being the dress code. And with that, over 1,000 Starbucks workers have made a strike to complain about the controversial new dress code. 75 stores across the U.S. initiated a strike since Sunday. So you may have not been getting your cup of Joe from Starbucks. This may be a good time for 7 Brews to make that money. Opposing the newly implemented dress code, which are solid black shirts and khaki black or blue denim bottoms. Not full black, but mostly black. Placing previous guidelines that allow for a broader range of dark colors and patterns, something more colorful, basically. The Starbucks Workers United, representing employees at 507 locations, contends that the company introduced these changes without engaging in collective bargaining, leading to a complaint filed by the National Labor Relations Board. Starbucks asserts that the reversed and revised dress code aims to enhance the visibility of its iconic green apron and create a consistent customer experience. As part of the rollout, the company is providing 2 free black T-shirts to each employee to wear if they don't want to buy a shirt. However, the workers argue that provision is insufficient, and especially for those with multiple shifts per week, the policy imposes unnecessary financial burden. That's a lot of nice black shirts you have to buy, a lot of new khakis if it's not what you're used to wearing. Some employees also highlight inconsistencies, noting that certain Starbucks branded apparel now deemed non-compliant remains available for purchase on internal platforms. Representatives from Starbucks Workers United emphasized that the dispute extends beyond attire, pointing to the pattern of unilateral decision-making by the company. They argue that such actions undermine the union's role and set concerning precedents for future policy changes. The union itself has been in ongoing negotiations with Starbucks since 2024 on many things, yet no collective bargaining agreements has been finalized on this in particular, and some of those many things they're working with. The strikes going on, Starbucks reports the impact in the operations has been limited. That's what Starbucks says. The majority of its 10,000 U.S. stores remain open and fine. The company encourages continued negotiations to resolve the outstanding issues, but the union indicates further walkouts may occur if concerns are not adequately addressed. The uniform is a tip of the iceberg part. It's what you're seeing out there. There are other issues with the Starbucks workers and the unions themselves that apparently aren't being seen. This is something that's a bit easy to see because it's visual. We'll see if they can work these things out. Series of labor actions by Starbucks employees in recent years, reflecting the ongoing tensions between the company and its workforce. Starbucks has gotten more sort of a uppity style of workforce as opposed to just nice hippie type folks who like brewing coffee. They're getting more corporate in their stance. They're getting more organized in what they're doing. And they want things that they see as equal, equitable, fair. Not going to DEI, but you know where I'm going with that one. We'll see if the collaborative bargaining process, the dialogue back and forth between Starbucks, the management, and the employees will address these concerns and other concerns soon. We need your opinion. We need your help. We need your thoughts. We can use your prayers as well, but really what we need for you is to tell us if we're doing well and to help more people grow in this thing here. If we're doing well in the story selection we have, 4 stories are done, 4 more to go, let us know. Let me know. Like the video you're watching here to see, so I can see, hey, this video is good. These stories are good. Your commentary is great today. And if you don't like it as much, I'll say, hey, I guess these stories aren't so great. My commentary wasn't so good, or I was stuck in a coughing fit, which may happen at any point in time that throw you off. So if you like the stories, I know I'm doing good. If you like the stories, you like the videos, the algorithm may share it with other folks and get more people to watch it, like it as well. If you know people who enjoy this type of commentary, this type of news coverage, maybe enjoy me, or maybe don't enjoy this type of news coverage or me and need someone to kind of hit it, share it with them, maybe they will hate, like, and hate share it as well because they will get involved in that one. A view is a view in most cases. Some of them don't qualify quite as much, but most of them, a view is a view. And if you're not getting me directly into your feeds, subscribe to this in whatever form you're getting. If you're watching this video here in long form, that means it's on YouTube, it's on X, it's on Facebook. If you want to see other things, go to our website and click the link to see where else we're found, and subscribe to our email newsletter or our audio podcast, which is just in audio form. And of course, you can also subscribe to the hot takes, some places where we do just clips of the news on TikTok and YouTube Shorts as well. Help us grow a smarter, more curious community, get more people in the News Nerd Nation. Tell me that you like me, and that tells the algorithm to tell other folks that you like me, and maybe more folks will show up. Back to the news. Back to the coughing fits. And I guess back to HBO Max. HBO Max is back, being rebranded from HBO, or from, I'm sure to say, Max to HBO Max in a major streaming revival from Warner Brothers Discovery. They have announced that its streaming service, previously known as Max, from the rebrand, will go back to its original name, HBO Max. And not too far away, later in summer, you'll start seeing HBO Max all over your screens and going forward. It reverses the 2023 move to drop the HBO name from the platform to broaden the platform's appeal. Coming out now, just that the HBO brand pretty much makes it worth buying for and why people come into it. So putting it back there should bring more people for the high quality premium content that they want, because they think it's HBO and not a Cinemax sort of rebrand, because there's a reason why people went to Cinemax, and because it wasn't HBO. The rebranding of Max aimed to create a more family-friendly image by distancing itself from service from HBO's adult-oriented reputation, even though Max was Max. The strategy led to confusion among consumers and diluted the brand's identity. Critics argued that removing the well-established HBO name undermined the decades of brand equity and recognition. You're going for HBO, going for the big stuff, not for the little stuff. People didn't catch on to the rebranding, so they're restating the HBO Max name. Warner Brothers Discovery seeks to leverage the strong association with the quality programming that HBO provides. The company believes that the move will better position the streaming service in a competitive market right now and help accelerate subscriber growth. As of March of 2025, the platform has 122.3 million subscribers, with targets exceeding 150 million by the end of 2026. Not too far off to get to, and could come to very easily once the HBO is back on the Max. So there's been a mix of relief, people who are like, yeah, this makes sense, and just general amusement as, why'd you do it in the first place? Social medias are back and forth, users back and forth over what the industry observers have condemned a frequency of changes just to make changes, essentially rearranging deck chairs. What may not be the Titanic, may be a Disney cruise ship, but it is still just, new coats of paint on new coats of paint that get a little bit of messy to do a transition, going from one thing to come back to its own. Now, the self-deprecating humor that HBO is showing, and HBO Max is showing, and Warner Bros. Discovery is showing, because they get it. They are the butt of the jokes. And the many, many memes that are the Spider-Mans pointing at each other with different branding of what the app is called has been hilarious and has been essentially warranted, basically asked for by Warner Brothers Discovery. Oops, I had the wrong slide. Sorry about that. Guess we won't be using that for the replay. We do have, hopefully good for the replay and more, this great story to tell you about numbers and drug overdoses. And there are less of them. The headline for this story at number 6 today is drug overdose deaths drop to pre-pandemic levels despite ongoing fentanyl crisis. In 2024, the United States experienced a significant 27% decrease in drug overdose deaths, marking the largest single-year decline since the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention began tracking this data about 45 years ago. Approximately 80,000 fatalities were recorded, down from 110 in 2023, bringing the numbers back to pre-pandemic levels. Experts attribute the decline to several factors: widespread availability of naloxone, Narcan is the brand name for that one, overdose reversing drug, and increased use of fentanyl test strips, which help users detect presence of potential opioid in counterfeit drugs. Now, it's not so much less drug use, but more features to make drug use safer, which makes it a bit controversial. It's not that everyone stopped using drugs. It's that the folks using drugs have more access to life-saving drugs like Narcan, and of course, the test strips to see if there's fentanyl in what you bought on the street. Expanded access to addiction treatment is helping as well, and a source some reduction in programs or dealing with the issues there. But essentially, it has been the flooding of the test strips and Narcan specifically to help decline these deaths. And now 80,000 deaths is still a lot of people dying in a year, but from 110,000 is significant. Drug overdose continues to be the leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 44. And while states reported decreases in overdose deaths, like South Dakota and Nevada, some actually had some slight increases because they always balance themselves out. The emergence of more potent synthetic drugs actually is the issue there. They pose a new threat to public health as people are taking the more powerful, the more designer stuff because it's the cool thing around. So there's still that to contend with. Public health experts expressed a concern that recent federal funding cuts could jeopardize the progress made in combating these drug overdoses. Reductions in support for overdose protections and community outreach programs hindering the access to crucial services and potentially reversing the downward trend in fatalities. While the decline in overdoses is encouraging, experts caution against complacency. We're doing better, but that doesn't mean we're doing great. Sustained investment in public health services, harm reduction initiatives, and addiction treatment services is essential to maintain and build upon the progress. Don't back off now. Keep pushing on the gas. Keep going forward to help us maintain our levels in the fight for the opioid crisis and hopefully start to overtake at some point to make this a better deal going forward. I had to look really hard for a full picture of Halle Berry in this outfit. And this is the outfit that she wore after the change because a lot of them were, they were waist up or headshots or waving back and forth. But I wanted you to see the outfit that she wore as opposed to, I can't find pictures of what she wasn't going to wear because that's the whole point of this story. At number 7, Halle Berry changes Khan's outfit after red carpet dress code clash. We posted this article, this link to the red carpet change in uniform standards for Cannes Film Festival a few days ago over the fact that Cannes, the French Film Festival, is like, yeah, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this. We ain't doing this. And so because of that, essentially things that are considered nude or really are nude are banned from the red carpet. And so at the film festival, actors and jury member Halle Berry had to make a last-minute wardrobe change due to her newly implemented dress code that regulated her not be naked out there on the red carpet. Originally planning to wear a gown by designer Gaurav Gupta, Berry had to forego this choice because the dress featured a large train, violating the festival's updated guidelines prohibiting voluminous outfits that could obstruct guest movement and seating. Of course, that's part of it too. But basically, they didn't want people who were really, really naked and wearing your Met Gala outfit to the Cannes Film Festival. To comply with these new rules, Berry opted for a black and white striped trapeze dress, as you see here, Jacquemus, I guess, for the opening ceremony. This alternative symbol featured a high neckline, a halter-style back, and gold details, and a voluminous back, still voluminous, piece made of white crinoline, whatever that is. She completed her look with understated chapard jewelry and cat's eye sunglasses, maintaining her signature elegance while adhering to the festival's dress code. Thank you, Halle Berry. The updated dress code of Cannes now explicitly bans nudity and excessive voluminous clothing, including dresses with large trains, to ensure the smooth flow of guests and seating arrangements. Berry expressed her support for the nudity restriction, stating, "The nudity part is also probably a good rule. Some attendees, such as Heidi Klum, appeared to challenge the new guidelines by wearing gowns with significant volume. Berry's decision to adapt her attire demonstrates commitment to the festival's evolving standards. Her choice reflects a balance between personal style and reflecting the institutional regulations. The 2025 Cannes Film Festival continues to be a platform where fashion and cinema intersect, with attendees navigating the balance between creative expression and adherence to formal guidelines. Berry's experience underscores the impact of such regulations on red carpet fashion choices. Whether this will follow on to other red carpet fashion choices or whether they'll get even more naked in other places, we shall see. Let me caveat this story right now with the fact that the writer of it is biased against against Donald Trump, and we need to sell lots of books to stay relevant. He's a, for my opinion, I don't know the guy, but I don't work in New York sort of media politics. But Michael Wolff's a guy that has to be out there making noise and poking people in the chest to be relevant, and he has books to sell going forward. That being said, currently there are books being sold that are trashing Joe Biden and his final days and running up to his election, things like that. People have books to sell. There is probably more truth to the notions than they're not in these books. But yes, salacious sells, and that's what happens. Jake Tapper wants to be a good journalist. I know, understand he does. He also likes selling lots of books on the side, and CNN likes him there to bring in eyeballs. That's there. But this is not about Biden. It's not about Tapper. It's about Michael Wolff, and specifically about the Trumps, Donald Melania, as he says they are essentially living as a separated couple. Many critical books by Michael Wolff have been written by Donald Trump, and he's kind of being stuck into the crawl that's going on to keep on their relationship because it sells books and sells him access to things. He stated that the former, man, the editor keeps getting to me. The president, Donald Trump, keeps calling him former president, and First Lady Melania Trump are separated. And this happened in an appearance on a podcast by the Daily Beast. Wolff asserted that the couple lead separate lives and do not maintain a traditional marital relationship, emphasizing the lack of evidence showing that them spending time together, suggesting that their marriage does not function in the conventional sense. Not that they're not so much necessarily happy or happily married as they are. They're just not working as a married couple. The comments align with observations that Melania Trump is not being seen at the White House very much during her second term. In the first 100 days of office, she's been there 14 days. Noted during the 2024 hush money trial when he was sitting there dealing with Stormy Daniels on the stand, she wasn't there very much as well. She did not appear in public in many cases of her husband in a lot of the support for the running of the election, basically in his campaign stops. He was at the convention after, of course, we had the issues with the shooting. She was at certain things. She did speak at a couple things. She has been very much not in the picture going forward. White House has dismissed Wolff's ascensions because the communications director, Stephen Chung, labeling him as a blithering idiot, accusing him of selling falsehoods because he has to sell books. Chung says that Wolff's claims are unfounded, should not be taken seriously. It is him spreading lies and innuendo. Of course, we've been talking about the way the function of the marriage has worked for years. Way back in 2018, the allegations of the affair with Stormy Daniels came to light, and Melania Trump's public appearances basically became more infrequent. Then she canceled several events that was to basically push on the fact that her husband was there, and feeling rumors that there was issues then. And as time goes on, we have still have the same issues going forward. Wolff's claims have reignited some discussions about the Trump marriage, and some people are publicly addressing it. Some people are just saying, hey, let people be. Now, my hey, let people be part of this is this simple. Remember, Melania Trump has a young-ish son, 18-year-old son, who wants to go to school in New York City and wants to live in their mansion up there, their Trump Tower up there. So she's doing a lot of time maintaining the son and letting him, because sure, he could use it as his apartment, but she's doing a lot of time just sort of running interference for Barron Trump, which is fine. And there's plenty of other people doing other things for Donald Trump, including Donald Trump, who tends to be working on all the public relations stuff on his own because he likes it anyway. He seems to be enjoying Melania not being there because he gets to pick the decorations and stuff. So it's working for them. Whether their relationship is great, whether it's not great and they're faking it, whether it's the way they want it to be, it is what's going on. I have plenty of gripes against the Trumps, specifically with the Trump Donald and how he's working things, and the Trumps and their appearances in things not seeming to kind of care and just kind of wander through whatever. But I don't want to get into their marriage. Michael Wolff has books to sell and he will do this, but even I don't want to get into that sort of drama. And as we say, we're going to bring up Barron Trump because he's relevant, because he's son of Donald Trump. Trump brought him up this morning in his speech going forward, talking about he needed to go talk to Theo Vaughn. As far as we care, he's a son of the president. He's a very tall person. He goes to university and he just goes to class and goes home. He's that kind of person. No beef, no nothing. We hope the best for Barron Trump and the rest of the Trump kids, wherever their station of life is at this point. We have wrapped up the 8 stories that you deem conversational. Now, how does that happen? You follow along with us on our feeds, our links on Facebook and on X. And every 50 minutes or so, we put out news articles for you to engage in. 3 articles ready for you to engage in are Mexican beauty influencer shot dead during TikTok live stream. I almost jumped on this one and put this in the story for today, but there weren't a lot of details on it yet. So I wanted it to be a bit more detailed. More than likely, once it gets out there and spread, it will be a big story across the day for all the networks, and it will be something that will get some engagement. Also, YouTuber Mr. Beast sparks controversy by filming at Mexico's archaeological sites. Some of the more sacred sites, Mr. Beast is wandering around. This brings up some of the issues that I have with those brothers who tend to do stuff like that. When one of them walked through the sacred garden at this, and it was like, wow, there's suicide. This is the kind of thing that brings up those ideas. The Logan brothers, the Paul brothers, and Garber, being Tulsi, fires 2 top intelligence officials and will shift office that preps Trump's daily brief. The short version of this, too long didn't read part, is the fact that there are apparently a couple folks that aren't quite thrilled with their role in the administration or Trump as running it. So they've been relieved of their duties, and she's going to shift how the daily briefing is working with those people out of the way doing those. Those are 3 stories that are lined up, ready to go for you to engage in. Let me know if they're good enough to talk about for tomorrow. If they're good enough, let me know. We'll go into deeper detail, but essentially go to Facebook, go to our page on X, go to our page on Facebook and X, and then engage in them. We'll get deeper in that in just a bit. Today, we're going to hype ourselves up in our space for our sponsor, and it is the Very Boring Investment Advice newsletters, which comes out in the link you click here, or if you can go to our website, veryboringinvestmentadvice.com, you can see them essentially posted there on the website. Get them in your inbox directly from there as well. Now, what we provide for you is 6 stocks to watch, Monday through Friday, 6 stocks from a good pick of stocks that you can use into your portfolio or get away from them. They're not so much random as they are stocks that you might not see on your radar. We do go for look at details and see what things are trending, what things are being sold more or less, what have the biggest gains and loss. So the things that are relevant are there. But we also throw in a lot of things on a list of over 5,000 different stocks listed on the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange to go for, plus some order counter stuff there as well as we can find them. These are a long list of things that may help out your portfolio or may not. It is sponsored itself by Robinhood. So if you want to go to thisisconversationproject.com/Robinhood and join there, by joining that and being a member there, we get a small commission back from Robinhood for that one. They still give you free stock going forward. This is mostly for information purposes. I use this in my way because it's a way for me to justify me spending time doing research for my investment stuff. It's extra stuff. It's a rabbit hole I fall into, but to turn it into something that's lucrative, it's there. I make no money off the newsletters other than if you click on an affiliate link. I make no money off of any stock trades other than if you go to Robinhood to do your trades. I am not an advisor. I'm not a licensed professional. I am a person who is doing this and learning on my own. Now, if you go to our website, Very Boring Investment Advice, you will see that every week, every Tuesday, we produce an article that offers up very boring investment advice. Simple advice for you to follow that isn't buy something and ride it to the moon because everyone's buying it, or get lots of crypto and sell it really fast before it goes down. It's really detailed and simple things to get into the world of investments, whether it's stocks, bonds, ETFs, crypto, or larger investments like houses, things like that. It's this very simple website, very simple information. It's stuff that most people can Google and find, but we do the Google and finding for you, writing into hopefully very insightful newsletters, hopefully very insightful articles with that one. So I'm not trying to sell you something particularly here other than joining in the conversation and learning about investments and stocks. Go to the link inside of this presentation. There's a link to the SendFox box to get you straight there to joining in to get this on your newsletter, get this in your email, or go to veryboringinvestmentadvice.com and see that we produce 6 stocks to watch Monday through Friday. And on Saturday, we do a recap called the Market Week That Was. Conversation Project lives online at this is conversationproject.com. We like give you a chance to see how the news feels to you, to then show the news presented to you in a good way. And that's what we do at the Conversation Project. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, follow along with us. We give you a chance to pick the news stories that you think are worthy of chatting up. And then we pick the news stories that we think you want to talk about the most. And then we talk about that. And how's that happen? Simple. We go to our email address. You email me with your comments on the stories I have out there and let me know if I got the right ones or the wrong ones for the day, the week, whatever. This is conversationproject.com. Once again, is our website home for all the details, what we have. Plus, find out past episodes, find out other gems, our partnerships page, our sponsorships page, all those things are there. Email us at the conversation inbox at gmail.com to conversate with us, of course. You can reply in comments on any form you see as well, but direct conversation back and forth we do offline in the email. And, of course, our feeds, facebook.com/this is conversation project and x.com/th_conversation. That way you get a chance to pick the stories. You give us information on what stories seem to be worthy of talking about. We do our best to pick those stories. And that's a wrap for this 15th of May, 2025, this Thursday. We've done the stories for yesterday. Now we have a full Thursday to give you stories for today so that tomorrow we'll give you yesterday's stories. That all works, right? So keep an eye out for some stories that are good to you or important to you or may make you mean and mad going forward. As I said earlier, one reason why we're a little long today is one reason why we're late and long is I recorded a video. I think it went about 4 or 5 minutes talking about the President Trump, who before I went on the air with this, is speaking in Qatar in front of troops. I think I mislabeled it UAE in my original notes, but it should be Qatar when I said it in the actual video. I'm going to edit that and put out there in this mix going forward as well. Plus, I explained that going forward. So one more piece of things go out there. And for folks who have actually complained about this. Yeah, we've had a lot of things out there, but we do a lot of pieces out there in the last couple of days. We've been trying to balance things out. If you're a YouTube watcher, you get to see you've seen the regular short clips, and you've also seen in the shorts clips of the short clips that are run as shorts. And then we're doing that so we get some short views, and that's actually helping us with the views, although not the actual revenue going forward. If you're a viewer on TikTok and you're looking at the short clips, there's a lot of things popping through, but chances are you're not getting all of them into your For You feed. You're just getting one or two things. In most cases, it's the longer form thing that gets in there because it just works that way. We're working to manage that a little bit and trying to see if we can get more help going forward. You can help us out by going to our partnership page and becoming a partner for $5 a month or even less or even more. You can help us grow and do things going forward. You can also go to YouTube and be a member there. And here's the secret there. The tiers are the same, but the prices are a bit less on the tiers at YouTube. Just saying. You can also go to any of our sponsors through our sponsors list, and you can buy from them. We get a small commission back from those guys. Buy any of my books that I put out there. I get a commission back from the Amazon from those folks. And just keep coming here and just give me feedback. Oh, to make this even longer today, something really cool happened yesterday, and you won't know it because we didn't do this yesterday. Because of some health things, I had some issues on the air, some real actual health issues on the air. So I cut the actual video that we did for the live. I produced the whole 8 stories and then cut it. I went back, and the 4 stories I intended to use for hot takes, I re-recorded them directly to include a story about a woman in Houston who threw a quinceanera for her cat. Her cat turned 15. She threw a quinceanera and raised money for a shelter that she works at, that she volunteers at because they needed the money. One of the coolest things happened to me yesterday, as in on TikTok. She sent me thank you in the comments. And I thanked her back for doing the story. And then I went deeper into the story because I could, and found out that she hired the mariachi band. She set up a quinceanera. The mariachi band showed up because they show up. They didn't realize it was for a cat till they got there. And they had so much fun with it. It was this amazing story. Check it out in the back feeds. It's there as well. Look for our email newsletter at our website. We do replays of that, and look for the link to the full story. But that's a story that, even as I am a much hater of cats, fell in love with going forward. So thank you so much for providing that piece of love to show that sometimes when no one's paying attention to you, someone does. And the smallest thing can keep you going forward. In the meantime, I'm really done this time for real because we've gone way long today. This one, I guess, making up for yesterday not being there, goes really long in time. Love you, mean it. We'll see you with the Friday edition of Things You Might Not Have Heard. Friday.